Hello everyone, welcome back. I'm Joshua and this is Rooftop. Now, in today's workshop, we're going to be creating a clay sculpture. So, for this, I have some white clay over here and just maybe like a thin brush to just to sculpt some areas, but nothing too fancy. So, to start this off, what I'm going to do is I'm going to prepare my table here. So I have some butter paper or gateway paper, some may call it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to tape this down so that it doesn't get stuck onto the table. Alright, I'll make this straight. And then I'm using masking tape. You can use any sort of tape that you have. If you have a plastic wrap also, like the food cling foil, cling wrap, that also should work. That would actually be more preferable. Okay, like this. And I'll take another piece of tape. Now in this workshop, I won't be able to paint it entirely since it needs time to dry. So what I might do is I will just make the sculpture today, and then once it dries we can have like a part 2 of it. Like that, and I'll just put it on all 4 sides. Okay, I have this down. But I'll just increase the brightness a little bit. Okay, so this is the area we're going to be working in. Now I will take my clay. Now I'll be using the entire thing, just how much I need. Okay, right here, and then I will just rip out, I think maybe like quarter of this. This much should be more than enough. Unless you want to make it bigger, then you can take a bigger size or take a bigger amount. And now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start pressing it like this. And mix it really well. So I'm moving it from one hand to the other because I don't want it to get stuck to my hand. So if I just do it this way, it'll start getting stuck to my hand like this. You can see these bigger particles here, but when I do this, there isn't anything on my hand. Of course, keeping aside these parts. Okay, so now what I can do is I can just roll it out like this. And then fold it and then twist it, then mix it up again. So this way we can be 100% confident that we've mixed it very thoroughly. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I have a cutter here as well. Alright, so I will take out, I think maybe this much of it. I'll keep this aside. Alright, now I can put this down and then just flatten it a bit. We don't want it too thick also. So I'll just flatten this out like that. Okay, and there you go, we have this part ready. Now I'll lift this up and flip it over because I want the thinner side down at the bottom. Okay, and then I'll take my cutter and just very gently go around it like this. You need to make sure that you don't cut the paper at the bottom. So this very gently, since the clay is pretty soft, it will get cut very easily. Okay, like that. And then the same thing here. And I will remove this area as well. And now from the sides, we don't want it to be thick. We want it to be a little bit thin. So what I can do is I can just start pushing it down from the middle like this and go outward. So I'll do that and move outwards. Same thing here, move outwards. Just like this. And spread it out. So as you can see, there is quite a bit of moisture on it. Okay, I'll remove that part. And then I will cut this down again on both sides. Right about here. Come and cut it down again. Just like that. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the feather from here. I'll just go upwards. Be careful when you clean this, otherwise you have a chance of getting very micro cuts, which can be quite a bit painful. I myself got them not too long ago. And same thing here. I'll remove any extra pieces that I have that I may not want. Like this, I'll just start cutting out parts that I do not need. And the same thing here. Alright, now I'll just try to make sure that it's not stuck entirely. So I'll just remove it a bit carefully before I do anything else. Okay, you can see we have the impression down there. So I'll move this a bit to the side, like that. Okay. And then a little bit here also. There you go. That seems to be good enough. Alright, now I'll press this down. And the same thing for this side as well, because I want it pretty thin towards the edges, which we will then be making the texture of the feather onto it. So like this. Alright, and then I'll take a little bit of this clay and then just start flattening this part out. You want it to be almost as long as this, but we don't want it too thick also. So I'll just roll this out a little bit more. Okay, up until there, and then from here I'll just keep a little bit. Alright? Now I can take this and just start merging it from the sides. So I'll put it down flat first. Just like this. Alright, and then if you want, with this plastic part of the cutter, I'll just start pushing this part down. Like this. Then we can even blend it down a little bit by going in another direction after pushing it down. Like that. And the same thing here. I'm going to push this part down first. Okay, and then you can just pull this part inwards a little bit, like that. Okay, now that we're done until here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a thin brush like this. And then I can start by adding some lines here. Wait, let me get a thinner one. Like, you know what, I will leave this down until it dries, and then I can easily pull out the paper. Okay. So over here at the bottom as well, we can add a little bit down here. Just like this. Then I will take my cutter and start adding some lines very gently. We'll go all the way outwards, like that. And if you see, I'm not using the sharp part, I'm using this flat head at the top. And so you can keep these lines a little random also, but try to make them, you know, long strokes, not super thin as well. And then the same thing a little bit this side. And for the tips, right, we will make them a bit pointed. We don't want it to be very round. We want it to be pointed as to show the feathers or the edge of the feathers flowing outwards. Just like this. Again, long strokes. We'll try to keep it closer towards the center part. Like that. I'm not sure how much of this is visible, but okay. Now for this stem as well, right, or the base over here, we don't want it to be very janky like this. So I will just cut it straight and then pull this part to the side. I will do the same thing for the left side as well. Yeah, there you go. That is so much better. And you can flatten this also a little bit. So I'm just scraping off the edge with my blade. Yeah, there you go. Then you can do the same thing with this side also. But just make sure you're a bit careful. Wow, okay, I think I cut myself. How ironic, as soon as I say be a little careful, I almost cut myself. And then the same thing this side. If you want, you can push this part down and then just take it outward. There you go, like that. And then over here towards the edges also, we can go a little over the edge. And if any part comes out, we'll remove that also. So it will add to the sculpt. For the top part, we can keep it to a minimal, like this area here. But for the rest, there, see? Whatever thick pieces are there, those will come out automatically. So think of it as filing down the edges. A little bit there also. Yeah, just like that. This side also, this side is a little too rounded. We don't want it to be very round. We need that texture. Okay. And now before I can paint anything over it, we need it to dry entirely. Otherwise the paint will just get absorbed inside and then it won't will neither dry properly nor will it get painted properly. So what I'm going to do is, while I let this dry, I will keep a part 2 to this workshop to which you can then come back and we can continue from there. Right, so far what we have done, it's pretty simple. We've just cut out the basic shape of the feather. We've built this middle sort of stem, and then we've carved the textures of the feathers. Now we let it dry and I will bring it back in our next workshop. So I hope you enjoyed this much. In the next workshop we will be painting this, not today, but I think maybe Monday or so. So thank you so much for watching and I will see you all soon again at 3:30. So take care.